Alright guys, so it's been about 2 weeks since my last GSD vlog update. Last week was a extremely busy and stressful week for me, so luckily our YouTube scheduler, Brad Loomis, gave me a hall pass for last week, so I missed my video last week, so I apologize to you guys for not having that update. But life for me has been super busy, as of late. My wife is a preschool teacher for autistic kids, so she works full time, but she's also gone back to school to get her master's degree, which I'm super proud of her and super supportive. Um, but at the same time, it's definitely put more on my plate. So it's a good stress, because she's gonna go back to school, get that master's degree, but it just creates a little bit more workload for me. So just with the new workload, with our routines kind of change because she has school like 3 times a week, 2 to 3 times per week. There's homework and things like that. That my routine has changed as well. And then I also got to factor in my stepdaughter started school 2 weeks ago, and then my son, he started preschool today. So there's just a lot of this going on right now in my life, and I still haven't gotten all this to this. And this week's a little bit better though, but because of the busyness and not having a good flow yet, the stress levels was a little bit high last week. But through all that stress, I was still able to make really good progress when it comes to my contest prep. So I know personally for me, and also I'm stressing this with a couple of my athletes this past week with their preps, is that whenever your daily routine or daily schedule is not like structured in a way where it's kind of like you can dial in, and it's kind of like brushing your teeth. It's just like you don't have to think about it, you just do it. When there's a nice flow, that's when we tend to make the most progress. And when the routine or the structure is kind of like this, it's really hard to make really substantial progress. And I know for me personally, whenever I'm stressed, like more stressed than usual, I tend to not sleep as well. And when I get and it wears me down when I'm not sleeping as much, when I'm stressed, throughout the day. I get fatigued easier. And my training, when I get in there and I go to train, my performance isn't what it should be or could be. My recovery is not as good, and I'm more susceptible to injury, aches, and pains. So I know that when I have that flow going, things click. So this week, it's like I said, it's just getting a lot better because the routine is getting normalized again. So this week I feel really good. But even through all the chaos last week, I still made some pretty good progress. So the month of August is a digging month, basically for fat loss. The month of July, I was kind of holding my body weight 199, 200. And then this month, start of August, I've been trying to really put my foot on the gas a little bit to get some fat loss. And I've been making pretty good progress. I went from 199, 200 at the start of August. Now I'm averaging 195, 196. And I had a couple of 197s here and there. But last week, yeah, some new lows on the scale, 195, 196s. So probably going to dig the rest of this week, and I may dig maybe next week if needed to really hit that 195, not just 195 once or twice, but like averaging 195 all the time. So once I get that, then we'll back it off a little bit. We'll increase food a little bit, decrease the cardio down, and then that way I can make sure that my gym performance, and I could actually increase a little bit of volume to my training. So really attack my training through the month of September, and then once we get into October, we do another digging phase for fat loss, and again maybe take that volume back down a notch. And then maybe I might have to drop the food down a little bit, or bring cardio back up. So basically, in a nutshell, the only manipulations I've had to do in regards to attaining more fat loss is just picking my activity up. I've kept my food levels the same. So far this prep, the only thing I've done is adjusted cardio up and down. So last month cardio was like 2 to 3 sessions per week, walking outdoors. Anywhere between like 35 to 55 minutes on the average, and then this month I've increased it to 5 sessions, 35 to 55 minutes on the average. And so far, yeah. And then I've had a couple days this month where like I played one-on-one soccer with my stepdaughter, so she ran me a little bit, so I was a little more activity there. So things like that. So just the activity is what's kind of being my driving force. And because I haven't had to lower food down or anything like that, my training's been really solid. I have good energy, good performance, good recovery. So everything's basically in check. So again, we'll get to 195 once we accomplish that in the next week and a half, 2 weeks. Then we back it off for the month of September. Again, try to increase food a little bit, add a set to every exercise, and then basically just tone down the cardio. So picking my spots, when to push, when to back off, and basically I kind of just rinse and repeat until I get all the way down to my stage weight, which is like 168 to 170, and I plan on getting there probably in the summer of 2017. So that's probably where I'll be competing. Is probably in the summer. We'll try to qualify basically for IFPA Worlds and WBF Worlds at the end of 2017. So long road ahead, but I like the approach so far. It's been very successful. Performance is up, recovery is still good, and overall I'm feeling pretty okay, for a 45-year-old. And I'm going to get into my training. I did make some training revisions, so I want to kind of show you guys my split and basically talk about some of the revisions I made with my training. And I just want to have you guys understand how I go about making these changes and the whys behind it. So yeah, so let's get into that. So as you guys can see, a pretty simple setup, 4-day split, training each body part 2 times per week, lower upper, and the volume, as you guys can see, it's you would say in comparison to most people, it's not really high, but through a lot of trial and error over the years, I know that this amount of volume for me is adequate. And what's most important is that I perform well. Like the quality of my workouts is generally pretty high, and I'm able to increase load for the most part really well, and I recover well on this amount of volume, which I think is important too. And also factor in that this month is a digging month in regards to fat loss, so my cardio is up. So I know if I try to push volume right now, it's going to really impact my recovery. And if I'm not recovering well, then I know damn well that my performance isn't going to be as good as it can be. So that is it, the reasons why I don't want to try to overreach with volume right now. So next month when I back the cardio down and I bring the food up a little bit while trying to maintain my body weight, then I could probably push volume, and I'm going to try to add on a set to each of my exercises to push a little more volume. And I think because of the decrease in cardio and the increase in food, that I should be able to perform well and have good quality in my workouts, be able to keep adding load to my movements, and I should be able to recover well, again because the food is there to kind of support that. And right now, being that I am pushing fat loss, it's just I'm in the state I'm in now. It's like the recovery is not as good as it could be, obviously with more food coming in. So that's kind of my general approach to my training, especially the volume when it comes to when I'm prepping. So some of the smaller the changes I've made in this block of training. I'm in the second week of this block of training. As you guys can see, a linear progression scheme. So just increasing the load, decreasing the reps on a week-to-week basis. But that first workout, the lower body, I've been having some hip pain due to deadlifts. So I threw the deadlifts out. So that's where I was doing my deadlifts, was that first workout. Threw that out, and in replace of it, I put RDLs in. And because I did take the deadlifts out, I also put in leg extensions to cover any potential loss in quad volume that I was getting from the deadlifts. So I picked it up with leg extensions, and I was already kind of squatting on that workout already, so I just left the squats in there. And then basically, as far as the bench press on my second workout, I was working in the 6 to 8 rep range, but because I've been having some issues with my right shoulder and I really wasn't progressing too well in that rep range because of that shoulder issue, that I just went ahead and dropped the dropping the loads down and just working in a higher rep range to see if I can progress better in that rep range. I also changed up the rowing in the first workout. I was doing seated rows prior. I threw those out. I'm going with a rack row. No special reason there other than just to kind of spice the workout up. So anytime I feel like I'm getting a little bit bored, then I'll make, just a little change, like just swapping an exercise out. So instead of like revamping my whole entire training program because I'm just bored, I was like, okay, let me just tweak a little something here and there just to kind of add some spice and to keep me motivated. But other than that, that's basically kind of the only revisions I've really made to like exercise selection and maybe changing some rep schemes up. And a lot of times, again, the reason I'm changing things or the way I'm programming is I want to ensure that the first thing is first is that quality is high with every single workout, and where I can actually push significant loads with good form and to prevent injury. I don't want to just, add volume just for the sake of adding volume, because that's what I'm trying to do to try to progress faster. And I think a lot of people do that. They say, okay, let me just push a bunch of sets and a bunch of exercises because more volume is better and I'm going to progress faster. But the thing for me is I know myself. If I try to do too much, I'm just going to end up getting a lot of aches and pains, a lot of injuries, and therefore, if I'm on the sideline, well, guess what? I'm not fucking progressing if I'm sitting on the sidelines. So for me, it makes more sense to maybe just do enough work that I ensure good quality form, good quality workouts. I am able to progressively increase the loads, and most importantly, it's the work I'm able to recover from. And basically, I know if I rinse and repeat that over and over and over again, depositing those pennies, like I'm not trying to deposit silver dollars every workout, I'm depositing these small pennies that my account's going to keep steadily growing. And most importantly, I'm going to be in a position to actually cash it out. And I think a lot of people, they just go too damn fast. They get banged up. They get injured. They're on the sidelines. And then, they're just like, kind of wondering why and scratching their head as to why, they're not making as much progress as maybe they could be. So that's kind of my philosophy and my approach for myself and the way I kind of program and make small revisions. So in a nutshell, it's like, okay, make sure my quality it remains super high. I'm able to actually, improve performance, and I'm staying safe, and I'm able to recover. And I think that's been my recipe. So other than that, guys, that's about it. So I got to finish digging out the rest of this month, get to my 195. Next month, we go on the attack and try to really see if we can improve my performance and then maybe increase a little bit of volume. But again, because I know the food is there to kind of support that. And other than that, that's about it. Have a great week. Talk to you guys soon.